Imagine finding out that someone is using your TV character without your permission. Think about it this way, the show's company knows about it and is helping them. In 2013, Max Baer Jr. had to deal with that. He thought he had the only rights to Jethro Bodie for 23 years. He had spent a lot of money making a business company out of it. But an odd find made everything different. The secret CBS was keeping from him would destroy his hopes and cause a court case that no one saw coming. This Beverly Hills star was about to lose more than just money. Max Baer Jr. was born in Oakland, California, on December 4, 1937. It wasn't just another birth when he came. It was the start of a life that will be changed by fame, stress, and sadness. Max Baer, Sr., his dad, was already well known. He was the world heavyweight boxing winner and was known for his flashy style and strong blows. His mom, Mary Ellen Sullivan, was Irish, so the family has Irish roots. The name itself was in the news, and Max Jr. was born into a world with high hopes and dark clouds. 3 years before Max Jr. was born, his dad won the world title. The family felt like a cloud was over them after that win and everything that came with it. As a child in the Bay Area, Max Jr. saw both happiness and sadness follow his dad around. It changed the way he saw the world and himself. But behind the cheers was sadness. Max Baer Sr. fought Frankie Campbell in San Francisco on August 25, 1930. The match turned out to be sad. Campbell passed away early the next day. His brain had been jarred around inside his head. The details were so upsetting that they kept boxing fans up at night for decades. Senior Baer was charged with killing and banned for a year. It hurt too much, though, for the penalty to fit. He had bad dreams, started smoking, and changed forever. He cried when he talked about it. Max Jr. saw his father deal with this guilt as he grew up. He knew their fame was linked to a punch that could kill. Max Jr.'s soul was changed by what happened that night. It made him nice, but it was hard for him to find a life without his father's sad fame. The roots of his family made him feel even heavier. The father of his dad was Jewish and from Germany. His mom was an Irish Catholic. In California in the 1930s and 1940s. The Baers stood out because of this. The Star of David was on his dad's pants. At a time when there was a lot of hatred against Jews, he was proud to be Jewish. But even as he did it, some people wondered if he was really Jewish. The Baers would have been seen as Jewish by Nazi law. It kept coming back to me. Them as Hitler rose to power. His mother kept Irish Catholic traditions living at home. Their home was filled with two strong cultures. Max Jr. grew up between them, proud and torn. He often picked parts that showed how he felt. People who didn't quite fit in, because he felt the same way. His family had a history of trying to make it big in Hollywood. Bud Baer, his uncle, showed him what was possible. Bud was 68 years old and had fought 66 competitive fights. He beat 59 opponents and knocked them out 53 times. He beat Joe Louis twice for the title. In 1941, he almost won, but was disqualified, so he didn't. When fighting was over, Buddy was in more than 17 movies. He played the lead role in Quoties in 1951 and Jack and the Beanstalk in 1952. During the 1950s and 1960s, he was also on TV. Max Jr. felt hopeful after seeing Buddy do well. Strength and charm could open up a new road for him, letting him step out of the shadow of boxing. Max Baer Jr.'s story begins a long time before he became well known on TV. He was good at more than one sport at Sacramento's Christian Brothers High School. He was great at a lot of things. There were letters for him in 4 sports. Besides that, he won the youth title at the Sacramento Open Golf Tournament not once, but twice. People take note. He continued to do well at golf after that. Together with the great Charlie Sifford, he won the prom event at the Andy Williams San Diego Open in 1968. That win was about more than just sports. At a time when golf was still having trouble with diversity, it sent a message. Max Baer was getting better and better, just like his father, the great boxing champion Max Baer Sr., and his friend Buddy Baer, who was also an actor and boxer. Max's first acting job didn't even happen in the US, which is something most people don't know. He went on stage in England in 1949, when he was only 12 years old. Goldilocks and the Three Bears was the play, and it took place at the well-known Blackpool Pavilion. It was very different for a boy from California to be an actor in a British theater. Max was ready to take risks, though, because of this early journey. Putting himself on a new stage wasn't scary for him. Max served his country before getting a job in Hollywood. He was a medical worker in the U.S. Air Force at Gunter Air Force Base in Alabama in the late 1950s. He learned how to be disciplined, accurate, and deal with stress. He once told pilots that he wasn't fit to clean their shoes. He never forgot where he came from and always respected people who had served in war. It was written about on the wall of achievers at the Air Force Enlisted Heritage Hall to celebrate his service. Max went to Santa Clara University after he got out of the military. It was there that he got his degree in business administration and also took philosophy as a minor. That mix of useful and deep study changed him in ways that most of his fans never saw. His name was Jethro, and people knew him as the dumb farm boy. But he was smart and good at business in real life. He used what he learned later, especially when he started making movies and directing them. In 1960, Warner Brothers was the first company to hire him as a paid actor. He put in a lot of work to get small roles on TV shows like Cheyenne, Surfside 6, Hawaiian Eye, Maverick, and 77 Sunset Strip. He felt better about himself in these jobs. He got better at what he did, and by 1962, he was ready for the big break. It was the Beverly Hillbillies that gave them that break. Max played the part of Jethro Bowden in 1962. He was the right height at 6 feet 4 inches. People loved his silly charm. It ran for 9 years, from September 26, 1962, to March 23, 1971. There were 274 shows, 168 colored and 106 black and white. At its peak, 38.1 million people watched the show, making it the most watched show in the U.S. It wasn't as bright behind the scenes, though. In the first season, Max only made $500 per show. It got so bad that reruns sometimes only made $40 on the 6th time around, and sometimes they only made $90. The real money went to studio and the person who made the show. Max Baer Jr. did more than just play Jethro on Beckett. He also dressed up as Jethrin Bowden, who is the twin sister of Jethro. In 11 shows, Jethrin was in them. Baer, who was 6 feet 4 inches, thought it was funny that she was a tall woman with a deep voice. They couldn't find a woman that tall, so Baer dressed up and wore a wig. Jetha's voice was done by Linda K. Henning, who is the daughter of the show's author. Baer was scared at first. He was afraid that playing a woman would hurt his business. After the fact, he said that he didn't mind playing a girl when the director asked. It was only to see if it would help his work life. He said it wasn't easy to play the part. Even his brother, who saw him on screen as Jethrin, thought it was someone else. Letters to the show asked if Jeth was played by a guy or a woman because fans were so interested. Baer's show showed how flexible he was. But it made him feel even more like Bowden, which made it harder for him to get away. Baer had trouble after the show ended in 1971. Hollywood only saw him as Jethro. He couldn't get a job for 3 years. He said afterward that he did it for the money and the job. But after the show, he learned that he wasn't really employable. He would have to make the work himself if he wanted to work. So he switched to making movies. He wrote, directed, and starred in the 1974 movie Mon County Line. It only cost $100,000 to make the movie, but it made more than $35 million. Also, the shade of Jethro was still following him. People all over the world used his story to show how Hollywood typecasting can ruin lives. Baer was strong and smart, but he had to work hard for every chance. In the end, he was successful behind the camera because he couldn't get acts. Baer is the last main cast member of the Beverly Hillbillies to still be alive. He is 87 years old today. Donna Douglas, who played Ellie Mae, passed away in 2015. Baer was the last person who was related to the original Clampett family after she died. He's talked a lot about what it means to be all alone. He has fond memories of his co-stars and is moved by how much fans still love the show. But there's also sadness. Baer said after Douglas's death, all the actors, producers, and everyone else on the show is gone. I'm the last person left. You had to be a really weird person to not laugh at some of those shows. They were just as funny as Priest. Max Baer Jr. did something in 1974 that shocked Hollywood. Mon County Line is a dark movie about life in the rural South that he wrote, produced, and acted in. It cost a little more than $100,000. Back then, movie companies spent a lot of money on movies, so everyone thought Baer was crazy. What happened next, though, was crazy. The movie made over $35 million in theaters and rentals. That costs more than 350 times as much. Of all the movies made in the 1970s, this one made the most money. Baer showed everyone that a small movie could beat the big ones in Hollywood. Baer moved forward in 1975, riding high on his achievements. He made The Wild McCulloch, wrote it, and directed it. He had never been in charge of a movie before. He was no longer just playing. Behind the scenes, he was also in charge of everything. The movie stayed true to his style. Rough Southern stories that make you feel things. Baer showed that the Mon County Line wasn't just a matter of luck. He was able to every part of making a movie and still tell powerful stories. Then, with Ode to Billy Joe in 1976, Baer changed Hollywood once more. The movie was his idea, production, and direction. But what made it unique was his plan to base it on Bobby Gentry's hit song. That had never been done before. It was smart. The song was well known. They were interested in what the story was. Because the plan worked so well, companies now use song titles for movies all the time. But Baer began it all back then. There were also deep themes in the movie, like family secrets and the weight of society's judgment. This showed that even clever marketing could have important effects.